Story time. Just to tell you a quick story about number one, a couple of different things about being favored and being blessed, and getting rid of that imposter syndrome that you might have, because a lot of times we have so many signs showing us that we are who we think we are. Right? We really are, and too many times we doubt ourselves and we doubt the signs and the confirmations that are being sent to you so many times, just because you don't have that self confidence, you don't have that self awareness, and it's because you've been brainwashed to believe that sometimes you aren't good enough, and you keep putting yourself against uh, measuring yourself against other people, and that's not what you're supposed to do. But I was running a business for about 5 years. So I left, the corporate world, and I was running my own business for 5 years. I was helping, you know, um, individuals, professionals, uh, people who are high level entrepreneurs, helping them, work on their fitness and their mental health for 5 years at my company, and I kind of felt like I reached my plateau in that business because I wanted to pull myself and detach myself from the building, because I feel like I have so much more to offer, and I didn't want to continue to be put in the box of just being a trainer. So because I do so much more. I'm very creative, and I do a whole lot more than just train. Even working with those individuals, it was more than training. It was like life coaching, mental health sessions, and therapy, but it was still being boxed in to just personal trainer. And I found myself not really being too fond of that. It was a great time. I was able to work with a lot of great people and help them, um, transform their lives. Be it weight loss, be it increasing their mental fortitude and their resilience. So it went a lot of different ways. Um, but I say all that to say, I was doing it for 5 years, and I decided to take a step back and transition my career into something else, which is what I'm doing now. I've been just finished my second book, and now I am going to be having a book launch coming up very soon in June. But in the midst of that, I decided to, go back to work, and, just to, brush up on some skills, some things that I feel like I needed to get better at. And also just put myself back in a position to lead in a different capacity, because I felt like I was lacking that in my business, which is why my business probably didn't scale how I wanted it to scale. Mind me for some of this. I'm parking right now. Back, we get no black people got to be silent when we parking. So, but anyway, like I was saying, I know my business didn't scale because I wasn't, at the point of leadership uh, to where I needed to be. So I decided to go back to work and get into leadership. But so that's it. That was about 4 or 5 months ago now. So I went back in as a director at a company. Um, Only a month in, I guess they saw whatever skills and potential I had, and they, wanted to give me a new position. So I got promoted to another position within a month and a half, and increase in salary very fast. And so I just continued to do that and thrive in that, and that was more confirmation of I haven't been in the corporate for so long, but I guess the skills and the things that I acquired outside of that by running my own business really helped, and it really translates into back into the workspace. So because literally I was just doing a lot of the things I did that I had to do, honestly, because there was nobody else there to do it, and I was forced to get better at certain things, and I just transfer that back into the to corporate. So not too much longer after that, I was looking to expand on my speaking skills, because I'm looking to make public speaking and speaking engagements a part of my new journey moving forward in life. So I interviewed at this other company for a trainer position, and I guess in the midst of that interview, the person that was interviewing me, she said, "You know what? I feel like you're bigger than this position that you're applying for. We have a vice president's role that we're looking to fill, and I would love for you to meet with our COO. And I was like, where did this come from? you know? But again, that's what I'm talking about. That's just, more confirmation of you really understanding, that you are. Because in my mind, I know exactly, where I want to be at. I see myself very clear in that vision of me being in these types of roles and me thriving in these positions. And I operate, like that. But a lot of times, you find yourself still doubting yourself. But now you have these individuals who are actually seeing your potential and seeing, the energy that you're resonating. And they're like, wow, you would be perfect for this position. And, I was literally interviewing for a trainer's position to train, the company staff, all throughout the state. And that was really going to help me work on my speaking skills, being in front of an audience consistently, and just talking. But it turned out, that interview turned into me becoming vice president of this company. And again, like I said, it's a lot of favor, it's a blessings, but it's just the universe showing me and pushing me in a direction that I've already seen myself going into, and it's just those things are just really happening and falling into place. So stop, doubting yourself. If you see a clear vision of, of who you are and, who you know you're becoming, start stepping into that and start really, trying to put that energy out there and start, being that person more. Okay. So get yourself in that mindset, put yourself in situations where you have to really become that person who you say you are. Like, for example, like me, I'm stepping into this vice president's role of this company, and I've never been a vice president at a company. I mean, I was a CEO of my own company, but that was with my vision, and my, my own creation. But now I'm stepping into another position where I'm going to have to learn, a lot of things, about that company, but also still thrive in that position. And that's just going to make me better. That's going to make me more adaptable, and it's going to make me more resilient, and it's going to, increase my skill set to being able to work and thrive. So just don't believe in yourself, and, keep going. And remember, you are who you think you are.